this table here is going to be a really important part of putting together your final research presentation. So we're going to review each column of this so you can get all the key information. So you're going to type all your answers in. Obviously, we're not going to handwrite this. And really the goal of this table is to see all of your articles side by side and to be able to cross-compare what the findings were. So you'll kind of see how this comes about. So step one is to type in your research question, just to remind me and anyone that looks at this. In the first column, you will put in your full AMA citation. So you should be able to look back at your research check-in number 1, and providing that your citation was correct, you can cut and paste that or make any necessary changes to that. Column 2, the location of the study. So consider that, like if you're looking at the Mediterranean diet, you might have noted that the study was done in Italy or Greece or somewhere like that. So that's what we're looking at for the location, because in Europe, they eat much differently than they do in the US, obviously. The type of study design. So on this one, you have to look at your paper. You need to figure out if it was a cohort study, cross-sectional. Remember that those are your observational type studies, which you can use. It might be an animal study, which is lower on the pyramid, but still important. It could be a randomized control trial. If it's not randomized control, then you can just put that it was experimental. It could have been a case study, which is like a singular study on a singular person typically. What we're not looking for here, because we cannot use secondary research, is any systematic reviews, no meta-analyses, no narrative reviews, no position statements. Those are all secondaries, so that's what we're avoiding. So if you still have those, and again, that feedback will be given to you on your research check-in number 1, then you need to go back and find some new articles. When you describe your participants, it's really important when you're cross-comparing to include some vital details here. So say you had a study with 100 participants with maybe 50 males, 50 females, if that's how it lists it. Average age was 50 years old. I'm sticking with the 50s here. Anything else that would be important? They might all have a BMI greater than 30. They might all have cardiovascular disease, whatever it might be. Just include just basic key information. Again, all of this is in your own words. You are not cutting and pasting anything from the research article itself. That's particularly important with the methods. So with the methods section, you're going to just pare down the methods to your own words, to the key pieces, particularly about if you're looking at a diet. So let's say that half of the men and women went on a high protein diet for 2 weeks. And you can bullet point these if that's easier. Play with the spacing a little bit. So high protein was 2 grams per kilogram. They drink a whey protein smoothie each day in addition to their normal diet. They no workouts were included. So again, just consider every detail of the methods that helps you answer your research question. You don't need to include things that are outside of that. So really just key details. This does not need to be a novel. We're just really kind of bullet pointing those key parts of the method section. And then let's see. So the results, no statistically significant weight loss. Men saw statistically significant gains in muscle mass. Women saw no statistically significant change in muscle mass. Okay, I'm gonna go back here. We'll just say this was experimental. It was in the United States, specifically Arizona. Then I'd have my full AMA citation there. So this last one, why is this study valuable to your research question? This study helped answer the research question because it included all of the outcomes and included men and women instead of just men. So you can just figure out why this study was particularly important to you to help you answer your research question. So you will do that for each of your 6 articles. So again, it's really just the high points. So then once I have all my research, so say like this next one was like cross-sectional, it looked at 1,000 men answered. Look at that, average age of 30, BMI greater than 25. So you can already see, so while this study was experimental and had 100 people, this study was cross-sectional with 1,000. But if we're considering our pyramid, the experimental study is valuable to us because it helps us do a little bit more of cause and effect. So if they have this high protein, whey protein smoothie, then men will see statistically significant gains in muscle mass, where this one's cross-sectional, lower on the pyramid, it's just observational. The men took a questionnaire that asked about high protein foods and how often they eat them. So anytime you're doing like just a one-time snapshot questionnaire, or they could have done like a 24-hour food recall or a food frequency questionnaire, you're really not able to get down to cause and effect. They're associated with each other potentially. So let's say that men that consumed at least 2 high protein foods per day was associated with increases in muscle mass. Results were not statistically significant. So when you read the results section and the discussion section of your paper, that's where you'll start to get into some of the details about the results and the statistics of it all. So obviously the statistical analysis will be in the results section, but then the discussion might help you understand that piece of it. And then on this one, so while observational, still useful to help answer the research question since it included the outcomes that were being analyzed. So when we're looking at this, then we're going to have our 6 studies, and we'll be able to kind of look at them side by side and overall see kind of what the amount of protein was at the end that seems to be significant, how long people need to be on the diet to see change, what if it's just men that are seeing the difference or is it women. So by the end of it, you'll describe all of your studies, describing, and then you'll come to your thesis statement. The previous lecture described thesis statements, so be sure that you're looking at that. And be sure that all of your research articles agree with what your answer is here. So again, your thesis statement is your answer to your research question, but all 6 articles need to fall in line with that.